All right, what's up, everybody? 1212 in the place to be. I am Frank Red, and this is the In the Dungeon program. And I want to thank y'all for joining me tonight, following for the fifth time in 5 games. The Golden State Warriors are victorious tonight over the Utah Jazz, 129 to 107. And the Warriors have 3 games in 4 days. So there's a lot to talk about. I didn't have to come on tonight, but I was like, you know what? Following yesterday's Super Bowl loss, there's a lot of 49er fans out there who are also Warrior fans. And they need to feel good. They need to find a way to put that horrible defeat against the KC Chiefs behind them, take solace in the great season that they've had, and start looking anew, start looking to next year to see if this team can make it back. That's the beauty of sports. You know, you don't always win. It's about competing. It's really what it's about. And if you're a real sports fan and you don't happen to play, that's it. That's the drug. To be as close as you can to the people who are out there competing. And maybe you, at some point, will decide that if you can't play, then you're a coach. You coach your kids. You coach neighborhood kids. You'll inspire them. You know, you'll teach them all of the, components of being on a team. It doesn't change if you are a professional player versus someone playing on a third grade Little League team or a fifth grade basketball team, gymnastics, whatever you do. It's about competing. It's about doing things the right way. And when I come on air, one of the things that I love to do is talk basketball and talk sports. I've been fortunate to have played sports on a high level. I played college football and basketball. But I played baseball too. I was a catcher. I played right field. I played lacrosse as well. And one of the things I'm most proud of about my sports career is I was a caddy for over 10 years. So although I don't talk about golf a lot, I know a lot about golf. As a 13-year-old, I started my caddying career out in Long Island. And one morning, my mother comes into the living area, because I never had a bedroom. And she said, get up. I'm not buying your damn school clothes anymore. You're going to buy them yourself. I was like, good morning, Mom. She's like, no, you're going to become a caddy. I'm going to take you to the golf course. So I got up, put my clothes on, and we drove 20 minutes out to a golf course. She looked at the caddy master and said, take care of my boy. And she said, you're only 13, but tell him that you're 14. So I told him I was 14. And the rest is history. So maybe at some point we'll get into that. But tonight we're going to talk about what has to be the best road victory of the year by the Golden State Warriors. 129 to 107 against the Utah Jazz. And if you know anything about the Utah Jazz, their superpower is their effort. They overwhelm teams. Before losing to the Warriors tonight, they were 17-7. 17-8 at home. They kick a lot of butt in Utah because they just bludgeon you with hustle and determination. And I look at the games a little differently because the first thing that I think about when I see professional teams playing is the scout. Somebody is responsible for scouting every team that any NBA team plays. This was the best scout that I've seen from the Warriors, or the players took it upon themselves to execute the scout. I'm not quite sure. I'm not there. I'm not in practice, so I don't know. But the execution offensively and defensively was phenomenal by the Golden State Warriors. Am I surprised? No, I'm not surprised. First and foremost, they have a lot to play for. They have 3 games over the next 4 days If the Warriors beat the Clippers, I don't think Stephen Curry or even Clay, and maybe not Draymond Green, even play on Thursday. They'll show up, I believe, maybe, but I don't think that they play. So, step one of executing their grandiose plan is in full effect because they won game one. Also, the tragic death of Coach Decky Milojevic played into this. Steve Kerr was not in attendance, along with several of the Golden State Warriors personnel, because they were in Serbia at Coach Decky's funeral. And although the players were not there physically, emotionally, they were there. It was interesting listening to Klay Thompson talk about his relationship with Coach Decky and how they shared a love for fishing, and how Klay was inspired by him as a great father, great role model. But for somebody like Klay, who's still evolving in his life beyond basketball, you can only imagine how much he misses those conversations, because they're family. You spend more time with the people you work with than you do your own family members at certain parts of the year. So, did you notice any Warrior loafing out there? I didn't. There was no way they were going to lose this game, because it meant that much to them. Kenny Atkinson, I thought, did a phenomenal job, and possibly repositioned himself to be considered for a head coaching position. This guy took the Brooklyn Nets to the playoffs and got canned, got sacked, because allegedly some of his players didn't want to play for him. I mean, come on. There's nothing bad on my note sheet that I created for this broadcast. We're going to have a lot of fun talking about this particular game and the prospects for success. And at the end, if you want to kind of reflect on the Super Bowl a little bit, then we'll give you a little time. But today I had an aha moment. I said to myself, why don't I like to meticulously break down football games? Or basketball games for that matter. I like to talk basketball. And I'm going to tell you why. Because invariably, those shows turn into the blame game. It's somebody's fault. It's not because the opposition did more and played better than you. It's because somebody within our team, our organization, didn't do their jobs. So you know what comes next, right? Fired. We got to fire somebody. As a player, as a coach, you're taught one thing. Don't blame your teammates. Become solution-oriented, not excuse-oriented. The 49ers need to, I'm a transition. I can go on a tangent. You guys know this. The 49ers need to improve their offensive line, right? But the 49ers knew what they were putting on the field. It isn't like Superman was playing right tackle and all of a sudden he called in sick and somebody else showed up. The 49ers knew what their personnel was. And it didn't work in their favor. Now, they didn't get any help from the officials. I get it. But you guys don't know what I'm saying. I don't like to blame people. I don't. If you come on with some, with some intelligence, some different concepts, processes to fix things, I'm all ears. I'm not a genius. I don't know. I don't get everything right. But when it comes to basketball, I know basketball. There's not a job in basketball I can't do with time. I think scouting would probably be my most favorite job, scouting and player development, because to become a decent player, I had to really work. I started playing basketball late in life, organized basketball relatively. I didn't make my first team until I was in ninth grade. By the time I graduated high school, I probably had about 10 scholarship offers. So anybody out there listening to the program, or a parent who thinks your kid maybe he's not that good, get in the gym, put the work in. They might surprise you. All right. The Warriors improved to 26-25 after defeating the Utah Jazz 129-107. Stephen Curry gave the people what they want. When I saw Stephen Curry draining threes in the fourth quarter, en route to 7, I started thinking about EPMD, one of the most brilliant rap groups of all time. They had a song called "Got to Give the People." Jalen Smith and Jacoby sampled their song for their intro of their show on ESPN. But Stephen Curry was doing his physical rendition of EPMD, giving the people what they wanted. That's what they came to see. He gave it to them. Klay Thompson, 26 points, looked like vintage Klay. I'm going to say this. When I read things like Trey is trash, I mean, I lose respect for you. Come on. He's evolving as a player. But Klay Thompson could never be trash. Never. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. Let's get it started. Go out and talk to SG. Say, well, hi, Frank. How you doing, my brother? Who are your top 5 golfers in the world? I think I would lose my audience. So I'm not going to name anybody. There's a lot of people I like. Scheffler is somebody who I like. The Asian kid from Cal, I like. There's a lot of golfers who I like. Tiger Woods still my favorite, to be honest. The fact that he's playing in the Masters, I got visions of Jack Nicklaus at 46 winning the Masters. Tiger's not 46. Don't be surprised. You can name a golfer, and I'll give you my take on it. Thanks for sharing that story. Man, I love sports, man. If it wasn't for sports, I wouldn't be where I am today. That's for sure. Let's take a look at some of these numbers. Stephen Curry, 25 points, 10 assists. Klay Thompson, 26. Andrew Wiggins, 17 points, plus 31, plus minus. You know what? I'm embarrassed. But there's a reason why. I came on here a couple of times and said, Andrew Wiggins got to go. Now, he wasn't playing like he's playing now. But can you imagine if the Warriors traded Andrew Wiggins and got some junk back? That would have set this franchise back numerous years. The only player that I thought that the Warriors could have reasonably reached a conclusion to trade Andrew Wiggins for is DeAndre Hunter, who just signed a $90 million extension with the Atlanta Hawks. Good player. Underachieved, but solid ability. National champion. But beyond DeAndre, there was nobody else out there. I'd rather have Wiggins. Wiggins, as good as DeAndre is defensively, I think Wiggins has more range as a defender. He's knocking down threes. I'm loving every bit of it. Trey Jackson-Davis scores 11 points in the fourth quarter. Balling. He's playing now like I think he should play all the time. The draft process in the NBA, just like any major sport, It only means something if you know what the hell you're doing. The Trace Jackson Davis being drafted with the 57th pick, it's lunacy. Did you not watch this kid play? He's a top 20 pick. You know? And he shows flashes that he could actually possibly be a starter in the NBA. You know, a consistent starter, not like a plug-and-play guy. But I was very impressed with him tonight. His hands are getting better. He's becoming a more physical player, which I love. Draymond was flirting with a triple-double. And just overall, a fantastic job by the Warriors. And they gear up on Wednesday night to take on the LA Clippers in what will be a tough battle because the Clippers want to make a statement, I think. And so do the Warriors. SG says, I love sports. What do you love about sports, SG? I still can't get over the 25-22 49ers loss. Get over it. It's over, B. Get over it. Get over it. Some of the players who you love to watch are going to decide not to come back or they're going to get cut. It's professional sports. This feels like I'm a part of the show. You are a part of the show. You're a very important part of the show. Otherwise, I'll be talking to myself. So thank you. I appreciate you. But yeah, man, I mean, professional sports is fun. They're fun. But at the end of the day, it's a business. I played with professional athletes. Some of them are friends of mine. You know, they don't walk on water. They just have great jobs. It's what they do. And for a lot of them, when it's over, it's devastating because that's all they know how to do. But they perform for our enjoyment. I love it. It is extremely hard to get into those businesses without knowing somebody. Very hard. You know, unless you go in and take a different route, you are an analytical person, a business, and you kind of, you know, work your way through some of the crevices in the industry. But by and large, it's a pretty tough industry to get into. And you see all the roses and the daisies. You don't see people cleaning toilets. I'm using that as a metaphor just to say that it's not always fun. It's tough. To have another human being talk to you as an adult in a disrespectful way. I don't care how much money you pay me. There's only so much I can take. So I don't know if I can really work in that industry because everything about me is about respect. And sometimes people get disrespected. Why? Because of power and money. SG says, I can play sports, video games all day, from Madden, NBA. I've never played a video game in my life. The only video games I've ever played is like pinball machines. I don't know where people have the time, man. I don't. I wish Brian Iglesias was listening or he was on the program. Brian is he's my smart, I call him the smart contrarian. Because he has, like I always say, he has good takes. He just looks at things from a negative perspective. And if he's wrong, then sometimes you don't see him. He was dead wrong about the Warriors tonight. dead wrong. Why? Because he looks at things from a negative perspective. I don't. I look at things from a positive perspective. As he says, George Kittle's favorite wrestler is Pentagon Jr., also known as Penta L0M. Yeah, we're not talking about wrestling or football right now. We're talking about the Golden State Warriors. I also wanted to watch this game tonight because I wanted to get a good look at Lauri Markkanen, because I put out several tweets during the trade deadline period when his name kept coming up, and I was reading ridiculous stuff that said that, oh, you want Lauri Markkanen, you're going to have to give up 2 or 3 first-round picks. That's what Danny Ainge wants. And I was like, are you drunk? Never in a million years would I give up multiple first-round picks for Lauri Markkanen, excuse me. I would give up a good player because he's a good player. But Lauri Markkanen, I don't think could ever be the best player on definitely not a championship team, but even a team that was kind of working towards the playoffs. I don't think he could do that. And I'm going to tell you why. Not because he's not good enough or talented enough, because he is unbelievably talented. He shoots the 3. He has pretty good instincts. Really good skills for a big guy. His toughness meter is really low. He doesn't get tough rebounds. I've never seen him take a charge in his life. I've been watching him since he was at Arizona. Can't win that way. If you're going to be a leader of a team, you got to be a guy who's going to make winning plays. Brandon Podzinski has won me over 10 times. That dude is tough. He's proved to everybody that guy is tough. You think that he has not ingratiated himself with his teammates? The 4-time champions on the Golden State Warriors, you don't see Klay kind of stepping out of line because Brandon is playing over him down the stretch. Klay's pissed off, but he doesn't say anything derogatory about Brandon because I guess of who the kid is. Tough player. Lauri Markkanen does not strike me as a tough player. I'm not giving up a whole lot to get him. I'm not. The only way I would want Lauri Markkanen is if the late, great Kobe Bryant was still alive and playing basketball. Because Kobe would see all of that talent that Lauri Markkanen has, and he would give it to him every day and bring it out of him. Similar to how his relationship developed with Paul Gasol, who became a Hall of Famer. My man Mark Gray says the Warriors are really getting right now. Yes, they are. Playing great basketball. Mark also says, I agree. Markkanen can score, but seems to stand around a lot. I didn't see him crash the boards. No. He didn't. Doesn't. That's why, like, when Chicago traded him, it was a net negative because they didn't get equal talent back. And Cleveland probably didn't either. But the frustration level, I'm sure to coach that man, he's not a kid, had to be high because he's not giving you what you think he should give you. Hardy is an excellent coach in Utah. Maybe he'll find a way to bring it out of him. But when his contract comes up and he starts talking, $5 $35, $40 million a year, I think teams will be like, well, I don't know. I don't know. Kessler appears to be somebody who teams would want. That kid plays hard. And he's hanging on everything. Rebounding, blocking shots, running. He's a little unorthodox, but Kessler plays hard. He's somebody who I would want on my team. SG says Steph Curry was a straight up dog tonight for the Warriors. 25, 6 rebounds. And he actually had 10 assists, SG. Okay, you corrected yourself. Yeah, 25 and 10 and 6. He kind of got off to a slow start. But as the game went on, he really started to turn into Superman like he does on most nights. It was beautiful to watch. The other thing about Stephen Curry that I like is that he plays to the crowd. He knows where he is. You know? A lot of people don't know because you're too young. But Stephen Curry's father, Del Curry, was a great player. Great player. Maybe not Hall of Fame level, but, not too far behind that. I think Del Curry maybe scored almost 15,000 points or 14. High-level pro. So all the conversations, all the lessons, I'm sure Stephen has soaked those up. And he keeps saying that I want to extend this as long as I can because he understands. And I marvel at his exploits. I mean, I do. The Golden State Warriors are the highest rated team in the NBA, a ratings juggernaut. What do you think is going to happen on Wednesday night when the Clippers come to the Bay Area and play the Warriors at Chase? The ratings meter is going to be off the charts. And a lot of times when fans start talking about, well, we got to break this thing up. We got to trade such and such. But you don't have the data. You don't understand what it means financially for this team right now. The last time I checked, the Warriors are still selling out games. Last time I checked, player jerseys are flying out of the team stores, NBA.com. It's a business, folks. Understand that. Without business, there's no show. So the idea that this has to end before it's profoundly evident that it has ended, that's not going to happen. I think the Warriors are doing a decent job now developing younger players while still having a platform where the veteran guys can still play well. Sometimes I think about Jordan Poole, and I say to myself, he just didn't buy in. Can you imagine if Jordan Poole had bought in? I mean, Chris Paul, I love Chris Paul, but Chris Paul's been hurt. It's almost like he hasn't been there. He's missed, 15 games probably? Can you imagine if the Warriors had Jordan Poole coming off their bench? I mean, buying in, playing to his talent level? That was a colossal failure all the way around. Everybody failed. Jordan failed, and the Warriors as an organization came up short on that one. I'd love to hear what you say about that. Now, he had to go. It was too far gone. But you would have hoped that the nurturing process, any inkling of we got some internal problems could have been avoided. Because you talk about a valuable property, Jordan Poole is very valuable. And he was at his best as a member of the Warriors, not the Washington Wizards. Looks like Kuminga's going to make it. I love that. SG says thoughts on Steve Kerr attending the funeral of Dejan Milosevic. I have a long history with the Golden State Warriors, SG. I'm not just saying it, but I do. Decades. I've covered the Warriors for a long period of time. People dog Chris Cohan as a horrible owner. He didn't know a hell of a lot about basketball. And from that perspective, if you're judging him based on his knowledge of basketball and what he did, no, he wasn't great. The Warriors didn't make the playoffs for 13, 14 years. But under his ownership, the Warriors was still one of the best NBA teams in the league for community activism. Their nonprofit did more good things around the Bay Area than probably any NBA team in the league. Their basketball camp business, off the charts. I know because I worked in it before. There were several summers in which I worked as a coach for the Warriors in their basketball camp business. And guess what? As well run as the NBA team is, that's how well run their camp business is. I assume they still do it. So if you have a child, a kid that might want to go to a Warrior camp, do it. Pretty good. Let's get back to Steve Kerr. Listen, Steve Kerr, I don't like everything he does. He's a Hall of Fame coach. He's brilliant and all of that. But more than that, Steve Kerr is a humanitarian. Okay? And the Warriors organization always get it right. Am I surprised that a contingent of people from the Warriors organization got on a plane and traveled, 13, 14 hours to go to Serbia to a funeral? No. They are a class organization. They really are. And, hopefully some of you out there who are Warrior fans, you'll get a little closer than just buying a ticket and experiencing what happens on the court, because that's not going to last forever. But top to bottom, they are class personified. I'm not surprised by Steve Kerr, Ron Adams, Mike Dunleavy Jr., some other people who I don't know, who got on a plane and went to Serbia, to represent that organization, because they're class personified. So that's my take on it. SG says, as a Warriors fan, Oracle Arena brought so much childhood memories to me as I attended a lot of opening night games in that arena. And it brings tears to my eyes as an avid sports fan. Yeah, man, I get it. I get it. I do. Gabriel, great to talk to you. I don't know if we talked before. Hope TJD gets some of his extra minutes back. He's great. He can be great. He should be great. The onus is on him, Gabriel, to play like he played tonight, right? Because the greatest democracy in the world is sports. What do they call it? A meritocracy. The greatest meritocracy, the greatest democratic environment in the world is the field of sport. Jackson Davis is a player. And yet, he has not supplanted Looney for minutes or Saric. Why? Because he's not consistent enough. And one of the rules of the NBA is we don't give people minutes. You earn minutes, particularly on a team that still thinks that they're good, that are good. You got to earn your minutes. I got a proposition for you guys out there, and ladies, or whatever your gender is. Do you think Jonathan Kuminga would have been better off if he had found himself on a crappy team, getting 35 minutes a game, not being held accountable, making a ton of mistakes, versus being in a great organization where he's going to learn the game, dealing with some of the the old school philosophies of Steve Kerr sometimes that rub players the wrong way, and his brilliance as a coach and as a mentor and as a leader. What do you think he would have been better off at? I think he landed where he needed to land to be his best self. And I mentioned the word self because I always bring up Kansas. University of Kansas, the players who play for Bill Self, for the most part, they're there. A lot of them, not all, but a lot of them are there for 3 years. This is Kuminga's third year. It takes 3 years to become really, really good. This is a tough-ass league. You know, some of my colleagues, people who have all the respect in the world, they wanted Kuminga to be playing 30-plus minutes in year 2 when he's having 5 turnovers. Missing defensive assignments. Kuminga right now looks like one of the Warriors' best defenders. Why? Because he learned how to play defense. Because he knows now that defense matters. He's talking to his agent. His agent's like, yo, dude, guess what? You're scoring points, but people are falling in love with your defense, your aggressiveness. Disagree with me. It's all good. But you got to build a thesis. You want to disagree with me. Let's go out and talk to Gabriel again. Gabriel says, wish he got his own run early in the year, but no question that he needed to learn a few things to be where he is now. Yeah. Mark Graves says, definitely with the Warriors, learning from winning players helps them grow faster. Yes. SG says, I'm so happy that the Golden State Warriors didn't tear down Oracle Arena and now they're using it for concerts and shows. Yeah. I saw Lauryn Hill there. Great. Awesome. Yeah, you know, Mark, I mean, it seems easy now, right? Gabriel, it seems easier that we can draw that conclusion. But it was tenuous, right? It was tenuous because the Warriors know that they got to pay him, right? So Kuminga's going to get paid. You know, he's going to be the next person out. You know, they might be able to hold him off for another year. I don't think so. I think they're going to have to take out the checkbook this summer. And it's probably to their benefit to do it because they can get him for less. You know, with Chris Paul coming off the books, the Warriors got to do a couple of things. In my opinion, re-sign Klay to something that's reasonable, probably somewhere between 20, 25 million, which is what Draymond makes. And you got to re-sign Kuminga. I don't think they'll be able to re-sign Saric. But they got to go out and get somebody who can be a positive player, front court guy at a reasonable price. And they got to continue to draft well. So they got a good team. Gabriel says he got even better playing with Draymond. He probably gives him direction on defense. Absolutely. Anybody who plays with Draymond, if you listen, you're going to play better. Wiggins played better when he came and started playing with Draymond. Definitely with the Warriors. Yeah, I'm sorry. I already read that. SC says, are you a big fan of NC2A March Madness. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. I love it. Love every bit of it. Mark says, I saw The Who at Oracle. Awesome show. Yeah, man. One of the vintage rock bands of all time. April says, thankfully, Lakeup likes him, so he'll foot the bill. Yeah. I mean, Gabriel, the numbers that owners like Lakeup are working with, we can't even quantify $100 million tax. I mean, come on, man. Crazy, right? But how do you wrap your mind around a $450 million investment? We don't know what his percentage was. We know he's the majority owner. Obviously, he had his co-owner, the Hollywood guy. I can't think of his name right now. Come on, Mark. Help me out. Peter Guber, right? Peter Guber? What's his name? And they might have had like some LBO situation jumping off. We don't know. Maybe there was a silent investor who threw some money in there. We don't know. But we know now that a decade later, 11 years later, that investment is worth $7 billion. Wow. Talk about a good investment. Thoughts on the Oakland A's? Wow, man. I fell in love with baseball partly because of the Oakland A's and the Mets. It makes me sad. The A's make me sad because owners used to really be emotionally attached to fans and communities. The A's haven't been that way in decades. Let's be honest. The San Francisco Giants, they've had years in which they have not been good, but you have never, ever, ever doubted ownership's allegiance to that community. When they were talking about the Giants going to Tampa Bay decades ago, Peter, what was Peter's last name? I can't think of his name right now. R.I.P. He stepped up with the Giants had like 20 owners. Everybody pitching in money to save this team, to keep them in the Bay. They spruced up Candlestick as best they could, and they went out, signed Barry Bonds, and started winning games. And then built a brand new arena, a brand new ballpark, with their own money. That has to be one of the greatest sports accomplishments in the history of Bay Area sports. The Giants being saved, winning while they were at Candlestick, building a brand new arena, brand new ballpark in downtown San Francisco, and winning 3 world titles. Talk about a Hollywood script. Fisher could have did the same thing with the Oakland A's. As opposed to haggling with the city of Oakland and Alameda County about who's going to pay for the ballpark, build and pay for your own damn park. Build your own park. Now you're trying to coerce people in Las Vegas who make practically nothing to get public funds from those people? Are you kidding me? It's horrific. The mayor just told you, go back to Oakland, dude. We don't need you and we don't want you. We'll give you some dirt to build your own damn park, but don't ask us for any money. Why are you taking our money? It's insane. As she's no. The Burning Lean has been associated with the Oakland A's, but I don't know who that is. Gabriel says another iconic franchise stolen from the East Bay. Yeah. I moved out to the Bay Area from New York. I didn't know that the Warriors at one point had played at the Cow Palace. You know, so I learned that, I don't know, maybe 5 years after being out here. So it isn't like the Warriors don't have any history of playing at different places in the Bay Area. You know, I like them in the East Bay, but I get it. You know, it's not the most convenient for me, but I get it. I mean, Chase Center's nice, and having a team in San Francisco, I get it. I don't like it, but I get it. And I have no problem with it. I don't. Thank you, SG, for the save. Peter McGowan is his name. Yeah, I mean, I learned so much listening to people who do sports talk radio. One of the greats wasn't always the nicest guy on air. Was rude to people sometimes, but he was really good at what he did. Ralph Barbieri of KNBR fame. I learned a lot from Ralph because Ralph was a great conversationalist. He was really smart. He knew how to ask questions. He did so many things well that you have to be able to do to be successful in this business. Ralph makes being smart cool. No one prepared more than me. When I finally got my shot to have my own show on commercial radio, nobody could say that I didn't work hard. I worked my ass off. And nobody could say that I didn't do a great show. I did a great show. I was number one for a decade. I'm number one for a decade. By myself, without a co-host. And I owe a lot of it to listening to some of the greats. The Ralph Barbieris of the world, the Gary Radniches of the world. Great gig. I would encourage others to do it. The next generation. Just be yourself. You don't need this quote hot take. You know? I'm really good when people give me stuff to talk about. I mean, I can talk about stuff, but SJ, I thank you, Mark, Gabriel, I thank you guys for doing that because I'm up on everything, but I'm really good at kind of responding to people's comments. I am. Golden State Warriors were victorious tonight, 129 to 107 over the Utah Jazz. The best road victory of the year, in my opinion. Stephen Curry, once again, was amazing. 25 points, 10 assists. Klay Thompson had 26 points to dispel some of the rumors that, you know, he's no longer capable of playing really good basketball. That's a lie. I'll never believe that. You know, this new iteration of Klay Thompson is different from what we're used to, but shooting is the last thing to go, folks. Let me repeat that. Shooting is the last thing to go. But you have to be willing to accept that you're not, but you can't do all the things that you could do in the past. Shoot from awkward angles, you know. You probably don't elevate as much. You got to take better shots. That's all. And even taking better shots, some days, some games, you're not going to have it. That's okay. Oh, I wrote something down I wanted to say. Draymond Green's not going to play 65 games, right? But if Draymond Green played 65 games, he would be on one of the all-defensive teams. I heard Bob Myers talking about Draymond Green about maybe a month ago. And he said the Warriors are horrible defensively now, but all the metrics say when Draymond Green is on your team, your defensive efficiency goes way up. And he was not wrong. Right now, the Warriors defense is high level. And regardless of whether or not they have enough size or whatever the case, I don't know. Apparently, Marty Poole, I don't know if his name is Marty. I apologize. Poole was going to put out 5 names that the Warriors might seek, like a big guy out there. Who are those names? I don't know who they are. I think they're good right now, but depending upon the name, I guess I could see it on the buyout market. I don't know who those people are. Thing about the Warriors, if you play for them, you got to be smart. You can't be a dump truck. You need to know basketball because the center initiates offense with the Warriors. You know, all of the cutting, the back doors, you know, the flare screens, all of those things are initiated by the low post player. We generally call him a center, but he doesn't have to be a center. But you have to be instinctual in terms of how you play basketball. Gabriel says he played a very different style tonight, and it worked. Hope he figures out his adjustments. Yeah, but Gabriel, when people say that the guy's trash, doesn't that piss you off though? I mean, come on. If somebody's going to say Klay Thompson is trash, do you really respect their basketball knowledge? Come on, man. Klay's defensive effort is looking better. Yes, it is. Yeah, I had a brain freeze. I know Monty Poole. Monty Poole and I are friendly. Talk about a guy that's had a phenomenal career in Bay Area sports. Oh yeah, Monty Poole supposedly was going to list 5 guys who the Warriors might want to target. I don't know who they are, but I'll be interesting to hear their names if you know who they are. I like the roster. I'm comfortable with this roster. Gabriel has talked about Trayce Jackson-Davis playing more. I would be in agreement with that as long as he's playing well. You know, to go out and get somebody else and bring them into this organization now. The only person who I would think works, and the Kings are not going to do it, is JaVale McGee. I'd love to see JaVale on the team. Mark Graves says, fans who say players are trash, just look at players' scoring average and not the whole game. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't mind calling, quote, fans out. You know, I'm never going to be disrespectful to anybody because I'm not a disrespectful person. But I'm going to tell you that, you know what? You really need to check yourself. Klay Thompson's trash. This dude has had 2 injuries that would have killed most careers. Klay's still averaging 16 a game. What's Klay shooting from 3? 34% maybe? 35 now? Not trash. Not even close to trash. And guess what? Klay's going to get some offers in the off season. And I mean, when he becomes a free agent this summer, the Warriors are going to have to take him serious. They're not going to overpay him because that's just not smart. But the idea that nobody wants Klay Thompson in the free agent market is lunacy. Keep your eye on OKC. Because Klay Thompson is not only bringing the skills that he has left, but he's bringing a championship mentality. He's bringing knowledge of how you prepare, how you be a professional. You think that stuff doesn't matter? Come on. Gabriel says he mentioned a handful of bigger guys they could add to help out here and there. Yeah, I don't know who those guys are. You know who they are? Because I just threw out JaVale McGee. Beyond JaVale McGee, I can't think of anybody else that would excite me. Who other teams would want to give up? Teams don't want to give up good players. Mark, I love you, dude. No ocean in OKC for Klay to boat. But there got to be a river, right? Come on. There's some rivers. Got to be. Or are they completely landlocked? I don't know my Oklahoma geography, but I'm thinking that Lewis and Clark, you know, when they would quote discovering America. Come on, there got to be some rivers that, you know, Klay could slide up and down on his boat. That has to be. Or, I mean, it's kind of arduous, but there has to be some surrounding states where he can kind of go and wade in the water like he likes to do. Keep your eye on OKC, though, because OKC is going to come up short in the playoffs this year. I am hoping that the Warriors play OKC in the first round because they're going to beat OKC. And listen, this NBA playoffs, particularly in the Western Conference, is going to be something that we've never seen before. It's going to be awesome. Okay, get your play-in teams, presuming that the Warriors get the 6th pick. I think the Warriors will get the 6th seed. I do. For the Warriors to get the 6th seed, they only need to go like 20 and 11? They can't do that? I think they can. I think 46 wins is going to get you the 6th seed this year. Now, Denver has to play better. I don't want Denver to be an opening round. I mean, they got to play better. Come on, Denver. Ideal for the Warriors would be to play OKC or Sacramento. Sac fans, I got your back, but you got to step up. I mean, you might be licking your chops about you want revenge against the Warriors. You know what? You might get what you want, but you got to step your game up. Because, I mean, outside of your fanship right now, in a 7-game series, the favorite will be the Warriors. I don't care what the record says. So if Sac wants to take it to the next level, they got to step up. Gabriel says the Wolves are scary. Yeah, they are scary. They are. Defensively, they're like Fort Knox, man. I don't know how you penetrate the exterior. It's tough. But they're young. And I mean, I question their synergy sometimes. I don't question their talent. But I don't know. Do they score enough? I mean, will there be some some strife between Cat and Anthony Edwards in terms of who's going to lead the team? I don't know. And I'm not in love with their backup point guard. I'm just not. So Minnesota is another upset candidate. If Minnesota played Dallas in the playoffs, Dallas all day. Dallas all day. Because Luka and Kyrie, they're going to score 60 a game. And when you control the game from the backcourt, you're controlling tempo. You're controlling the amount of possessions that the opposition gets. So it's about the matchups. It really is. I'm excited, though. I'm definitely excited about the prospects for success. The Warriors don't match up well against Denver. They don't really match up well against the Clippers either. Not in a series. They don't. That would be a second rounder to me. And they don't play all that well against the Lakers either. They don't. SG says, can you do a Steph Curry birthday? What is that? What are you talking about? I don't know what that is. I have no idea. Be more clear. All right. This has been fun. It really has. The fastest hour plus that we've seen. Once again, the Golden State Warriors get above the Mendoza line. They're now 26-25 after defeating. I'm impressed with Utah. I'm impressed with Hardy, how hard they play. Oh my God. You go into Utah slipping, you're going to lose. Which is why I think if the Warriors win on Wednesday, I think get ready to see a whole lot of Brandon Podzinski and Lester Quinones on Thursday night if the Warriors win on Wednesday. The Warriors are victorious 129-107. They're now 26-25. The Utah Jazz dropped to 26-28. I am Frank Red, everybody. This is the In the Dungeon show, and I want to thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate you. Hopefully you are jamming that like button and subscribing to the program. We need you. We need more people. But most importantly, we need to do good shows. We need to stack up good shows. And I think we're doing that, but you'll let me know. Hit the like button, subscribe if you don't already subscribe. You see that thing at the bottom? It says @BigFrankRed. If you don't follow me on Twitter, do that also. Love to converse back and forth. I'm a hip hop head also. And I think I finally learned how to put my YouTube link on the interface here. So on Wednesday when I do a show, I'm going to have the link to my brand new song. Yes. If you don't know, I am a hip hop head. I'm a rapper. It's called Where I'm Supposed to Be by Frank Red. Early signs, early reports have been really, really good. So be interested in getting your feedback on my new song. All right. That guy was blocking everything. You talk about Kessler, Gabriel? Because he was blocking everything. All right, I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to get out of here, everybody. Success and getting paid is a manifestation of the whole process. If you as an individual don't do things to help other people make their lives better, as far as I'm concerned, you haven't done nothing. My name is Frank Red, all right? Thank you for checking out the In the Dungeon show. We're going to do another show following the Warriors versus the LA Clippers on Wednesday. Stay tuned for that. Until that time, I'm going to say peace.